Another Real Madrid transfer saga is over. Manchester United tried to sign Tchouameni. Many other clubs were looking into him as well, but Tchouameni is staying at Real Madrid. It is 100% confirmed. The decision was basically made by the club, but with Tchouameni's help, I would assume so, because the contract at United wasn't even as good as at Real Madrid. And you know who's leaving Real Madrid to go to United? Let's be honest. Even though United tried to offer him something, great, but they still couldn't match his salary at Real Madrid, which I think was one of the biggest factors as well, because yes, Tchouameni might have a little bit of a different role under Jose Mourinho. He might get a little bit less minutes under Jose, but you never know. He might become one of the best CDMs in the world as well, one of the best sixes, sorry. The only way for the deal to happen was if the player takes a different salary, which Tchouameni, I don't think he's that type of player to be given sympathy to Manchester United when he's leaving Real Madrid, which we have given him literally everything, and he has given us everything as well. He literally won, I think, every single trophy at the club, maybe bar the Copa del Rey. I don't think he's won that at Real Madrid. Now, this is what came out a little bit earlier today. Breaking. Manchester United have offered Aurelien Tchouameni a 5-year contract. They didn't go for the 3, 4, even a 2-year deal, on a crazy bonus contract. No, they gave him a 5-year contract, and United have made him a very good offer. It was rumored to be around similar contract to Real Madrid, a little bit less money, but they would have given him huge bonuses if, United, completed another UCL qualification, if they got further in the UCL knockouts maybe than they did in the last 10 years. It was a similar contract to that. Not higher salary, not higher wages, but more bonuses for Tchouameni. This, of course, got a lot of traction, and United fans were excited. But then United basically came out and signed Andre Santos from Chelsea, which I thought already was a little bit like weird. He cost them 60 million already. He had quite a decent wage at Chelsea as well, so they had to up it as well from Chelsea. And, it's never easy to sign a player from another Prem club, especially on the wages side and the salary-wise side, because the player usually doesn't want to leave the club if it's not for a better contract, let's be honest. And then, as I assumed, after that deal happened, Madrid confirmed that Tchouameni is 100% staying at Real Madrid. It was the decision by the club. He will not join Manchester United. The saga is over. Ramon Alvarez reported this. Basically, every other reporter now is saying the same thing. Tchouameni is 100% staying. And if I'm going to be honest, maybe your opinion on this is a little bit different. You can let me know down below even. But my opinion on this is that Tchouameni should have stayed at Real Madrid and shouldn't have left for United. Because I think Real Madrid can use him in different ways. He can be a backup center back if we need him to, if he really isn't that good as many people think, which I do. I have had my differences with Tchouameni, especially in the season before Alonso and everything, with Arbeloa, because I think he was one of our better players last season. He was defensively really strong, and he was much better, because people seem to not remember that in Carlo Ancelotti's last season, Tchouameni was used as a 6, but a lot, used also as a center back, which was atrocious for his career at that time. I remember him getting booed at the Bernabeu. I genuinely thought, yeah, rumors are coming out. Real Madrid are looking at Martin Zubimendi, Stiller, Wharton, a lot of other 6s. And, Tchouameni was basically out the window. Everybody wanted Zubimendi to come to Real Madrid, and, maybe Tchouameni would have gone to Arsenal, or maybe he would have been at United from last season, but that, of course, didn't happen. Zubimendi went to Arsenal, and we stayed with Tchouameni. Xabi Alonso trusted him. Was 100% the right decision, because if you look at Zubimendi's overall season at Arsenal, it was a complete disappointment, honestly. He started off well, and then just slowly tapered off. He didn't even start, in the last few months, because they just had a better midfield with Declan Rice and the other players. But Tchouameni staying at Real Madrid was, for me, at that time, not a huge decision. It was just an, well, he's staying, I don't really care. I hope he can do better, but if he doesn't, we can sell him. But now, after the season that he's had, he completely proved me wrong. He completely turned his career around. He was one of our better midfielders in a season that was completely atrocious for the rest of the team. with the attackers not being able to perform, with Vinny and Mbappe having everything, Rodrigo suffering an ACL injury, another injury for Militao and this and that. Tchouameni once again sometimes had to slot into the defense, but when he's playing in his position as a 6, he's one of the top 5 players in the world in his position. And for me, if you have that kind of player at your club, especially when you're at the top of football, I don't think there is any like benefit in selling that player. For example, if Olise went from Bayern to Real Madrid, I would be saying to Bayern, you are literally stupid. That's literally so stupid. Or if, PSG sold Pacho to somebody, because why would you do this? Even if Pacho cost somebody 110 million and went to, I don't know, for example, let's say he went to Barcelona, I don't know, for a better contract, whatever. They don't have that money. Yeah, that's how you know it's a fantasy. It's definitely a fantasy with Barcelona spending money. Hey, guys. But Pacho, why would you do that, first of all? Two UCLs on the bounce. But why would, UCL back-to-back winners, PSG, go for that type of money when they don't need it? They don't need it. That's the same for us with Tchouameni. We don't need the money to buy a different player when he's already this good. I don't see a player that we are gonna buy for maybe more 5-10 plus million on what we have gotten from United if he went to United, which would have been over 100 million. But who are you buying instead of Tchouameni for that position for like 140 million? Once again, you're spending more, you have to spend more on wages, you have to bet on somebody that has never wore the Real Madrid shirt and has never delivered for a Real Madrid, because Tchouameni has already done that. And I'd rather keep these players at the club because I know he can deliver for a Real Madrid. So if your opinion is different, I get it, but Tchouameni is staying. Let me know down below what you think about Tchouameni staying. Now, I want to talk about the midfield dilemma at Real Madrid and, the midfielders that are actually at the club right now, because we might be signing somebody, but I'm not going to leave it up to discussion. I want to talk about how the lineup will look with these midfielders. By the way, every single one of these players, I don't think, this will 100% be the defense. Endrick might not even start, whatever. But I just, built a random team from the players that we have at the club and left out the midfielders that I want to talk about now. How do I think, we will start the midfield? How will the midfield develop under Mourinho, and who will be the basically the number one midfielder in this team? Because as we all know, the only midfielder that we have signed so far is Bernardo Silva. I mean, I don't know. Do I like it? No. I wanted to sign one more midfielder, and that could have been, I don't know, Matheus Fernandes, somebody else. Maybe we were looking even at Enzo Fernandez. But when I see the prices of Matheus Fernandes and Enzo Fernandez, I might just be okay with keeping these guys. Honestly, just give Camavinga a chance. Maybe he can turn it around, Give Fede Valverde and these guys all a chance together. And maybe Bernardo Silva surprises me. I don't like the signing that much. He was on a free, so we have basically nothing to lose. His wages aren't that crazy as well. Now, do I think Bernardo Silva will start? Sure, some games he will start, but would he be in my first 11? Definitely no. Now, I mean, Jude Bellingham is probably our top 3 player at the club. He will be the most important midfielder. Arda Güler, I don't know what's gonna happen to you, honestly, bro. I'm so, I'm already sad for Arda Güler because I don't know where he will fit into this team. Maybe he's gonna be at the right wing spot. You can let me know down below as well. But today we're just talking about the midfield. I think Jude Bellingham is 100% starting. I think Jose Mourinho has spoken highly of him even before he was, a Real Madrid manager, or even rumored to be a Real Madrid manager. He's performing at the highest level at the World Cup. There is literally no way Jude Bellingham doesn't start. So, Camavinga, I think he will stay at the club, but definitely a bench player. Then we have Tchouameni, Arda Güler, and Valverde. I'm gonna dismiss Brahim Diaz already. I think he shouldn't even be at the club next season, but if he stays, he's gonna be a bench player. We have Valverde, Tchouameni, Arda Güler to decide the last 2 midfielders. Maybe even Bernardo Silva. He might start, but for me, I'm just not going to be considering him as of yet because I just don't want him to start, okay? I think that's a fair assumption, okay? Valverde, Tchouameni, and Arda. completely different players. I don't think they could have been much different, honestly. I think Fede Valverde is an all-rounder. He's an all-action midfielder that can basically do everything on the pitch. Then once again, Tchouameni can do everything defensively. He cannot do anything attacking-wise. Maybe score a goal every single, I don't know, 45 matches. But then on the other hand, you have Arda Güler also, who can do everything better attackingly than Valverde. Maybe not the finishing side. I don't think he has better finishing than Fede, actually. But the defensive side of Arda Güler is absolutely atrocious. Let's be honest, guys. Even though he put on that muscle that we have seen in the Club World Cup, for example, I remember those photos, that he bulked up a lot. He still can't win a ball. He has basically no recoveries. His only good thing, I would say, in the midfield that is defensively good is his pressing. And our press last season was atrocious, even though he tried, So, with Arda Güler, I just don't see him being, that 10 or an 8 midfielder in this team. But then again, are you going to risk starting Tchouameni, Fede Valverde, and Jude Bellingham once again for another year when it clearly didn't work out for Xabi Alonso or even Arbeloa? Honestly, I don't know how it's going to work out. But now another idea popped into my mind. What if, just listen to me, okay? What if Fede Valverde goes into that right wing spot? And some people might be shouting at me, but I genuinely think Fede Valverde is a better attacker than he is a midfielder. Maybe he, maybe he unlocks something in midfield IQ or whatever you call it. But when I see him attacking against, for example, Manchester City, yes, he was a midfielder, yes, he was defending as well, but in the attacking third, elite first touch, elite chance creation, elite making runs, elite at making runs. Honestly, he can find a ball anywhere. He can find the space. He's elite at that. And let's be honest, is he fast enough to play that? Is he good enough at finishing as well? Yes. Thunder overshot. This guy is basically one of the fastest players in the team as well. The endurance is there, and he can help Trent defend, which Mourinho likes as well. I think this is the best solution for this Real Madrid midfield, which can also include Arda Güler. But then again, you have the problem of Bellingham and Arda Güler in the same midfield. Does it really work? Because when we see these two play in the midfield, we basically see this. And then Tchouameni is left on an island by himself, and we all know that this is not enough for defensive cover for Real Madrid, because you have Vinicius and Mbappe, which they don't press at all. These are two players that need to be fresh. They don't press, and when they get the ball, that's where we see something from them, yeah? We have not seen that in the last 2 seasons, so please make something happen. But this just cannot happen. I don't think this can happen. This can only happen if Arda Güler is more disciplined, because Jude has to be the player that is the highest in the midfield, honestly, guys. If Arda Güler is not disciplined enough, I think Fede Valverde will start as, the kind of 8 in this midfield. Jude Bellingham will be the 10, and then we will be seeing maybe Arda Güler on the right, or, as I said before, Endrick in the right wing, because he has played there most of the time for Lyon. If you look at his heat map, if you look at, where he's picking up the ball, where he's, beating players, he beat the left back the most. He picked up the ball in those right space areas the most, and he, was on the heat map the most on the right side in attack. So I think this might be the first starting lineup of the season, but I can also see Bernardo Silva somehow slotting a spot on the right wing as well. Honestly, guys, I don't know. I think this is probably the most probable one, not the defense and not the attack. I don't know what the defense is gonna look like if we're gonna sign Bastoni. We're just talking about the right wing spot and the midfield, because I think the midfield, correlates with the right wing spot as well, because Fede Valverde can play there, Arda can play there, but from what I have seen so far, I think Fede Valverde should play there, and we should somehow try to implement Bernardo Silva or Arda Güler with Tchouameni and Bellingham in the midfield. But if I'm going to be realistic, I think this will be the starting midfield. And we might regret it, we might not. Jose Mourinho might make them work. But what would be your starting midfield? And you can say the starting right wing as well, because some of the people will, I'm sure, have Fede Valverde or Arda Güler at the right wing spot as well. But I think this will be the most probable one out of them all. So let me know down below what you think about this, Tchouameni staying, and how will the midfield look like with these players at the club, and will we maybe even sign somebody? Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I will see you in the next one. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.